Hi Aries, welcome to your May 2019 New Love Tarot reading. How do you like that light? That's just a little beam of light on my table here. All right. This is for new relationships, just to let you know. Interesting that the Death card came up last. Okay. And by the way, I mean, even this card could represent Scorpio, which is the Death card. You know, the connection to the Death card in terms of astrological signs. The Knight of Cups is the heart of the matter. You may meet somebody who is, maybe you've already met this person, who is very, very charming, but also very romantic, and I feel like my voice sounds nasally for some reason. But you might meet somebody that feels very romantic, and if you are a woman who is very chivalrous and things like that, maybe this is somebody that you're looking for, because we do have, I have this card from the past position that kind of as a contrast. Actually, this is your card, Aries, the Emperor, but this is that kind of a more authoritarian type of an individual. The Emperor can relate to the father, so there's that, you know, I'm not saying like necessarily an age gap, although, you know, maybe this person was older than you, than the Knight, so the Knight is a younger energy. The Emperor could have been somebody who was very hard to reason with because they were very very rigid in their ideas. And this Knight of Cups is an artistic person. The Emperor might have been more like a cop or somebody in the military that is those are the types of people that tend to judge others in situations as in a very black and white type of way, where they see things rigidly, and you may have had a problem with that because you felt like this person was judging you even and controlling. Yeah, I should mention that. Maybe this person was controlling. Now, the thing too is that you, as an Aries individual, you just don't do very well with controlling people. So you want somebody who can accept you for who you are. I mean, I think most people do. I don't think that has anything to do with sign. But an Aries person is going to always be very independent, and they don't want somebody trying to control them. So that will affect you more than most people because of that. The higher message is the Eight of Swords. To me, this is saying that this is an inside job. That there are things, because I got a couple of cards here that are kind of like tough about, you know, anxiety. And with the Eight of Swords, this could be negative self-talk or just attitudes that you have that keep you kind of like trapped, but you're trapped by your own thoughts, okay? And so what I'm trying to get at here is that, and this is what I say to people a lot when I'm doing astrological readings, is that it doesn't matter how great your transits are. It doesn't matter if you have like the best thing happening. If you are in a bad state of mind, you can have the best outer situations and still have problems because you're just not making good choices. You still need to heal from something. So that could be what this is talking about, that perhaps some of you are going from relationship to relationship looking for that person to save you. Like maybe with the Knight of Cups, it's not like a person that you're actually with, but I mean that you're actually interested in, but you are, pinning your hopes on finding this next person instead of working on yourself. And it's funny because when I do like singles love readings, that's why I think I'm going to stop doing separate readings, because it really doesn't matter. A lot of times I'll get cards that talk about looking within. It's not about, oh yeah, now you're going to have a new relationship and you'll have a new way to escape your pain. So it's like I realize that they're both situations, whether you're in a bad relationship or if you're single and you don't have a good relationship with yourself. It's almost like the same thing in a sense. So, and what crosses you is the Nine of Swords. Now, I do want to also state that this Emperor, maybe this person is a Swords individual. Maybe they are a Gemini. Libra is your opposite sign, or Aquarius. And it's just kind of hitting home that this person is, this may be like somebody that's your ex, and you may meet somebody who is very good for you, but you're still hung up on that person. And that is, the challenge to embrace something that is positive instead of kind of being attracted to the negative, to the ex. But also the Nine of Swords is a card of anxiety. And anxiety is something that motivates people to kind of be in denial, escape their own pain. And so my feeling is, and just experience with it myself, is that when you have pain inside of you and you try to escape, it doesn't go away. You might have this illusion that, it's going away, but it's right there waiting for you to deal with it eventually. And so it actually can produce more anxiety when you try to lessen your anxiety in an artificial way. And, for some people, it's substance abuse. For some people, it's relationships, losing themselves in relationships. Now, does this sound like the average Aries? Well, not necessarily. Most Aries people give off a vibe of being very strong and independent. But this is where we have to realize that astrology is more sophisticated than some people understand. There's where is your sun? Is your sun in the seventh house? Is your sun in? Then you might define yourself by relationships. Is it in the 12th house? You might suffer. You might feel that suffering is a part of your identity. If your Venus is in Pisces, if your Mars is in Pisces, these can be self-sacrificing and also can make you feel more confused about taking action, all of that stuff, falling in love with the wrong person. So that's, it's a little bit more complicated than people want to make it out to be. The advice is the Magician card. This is your card. I always heard that it was attached to Gemini. This is, of course, you're the first house. The Magician is about self-empowerment. And so we have three major arcana cards. We have the Emperor, the Magician, and Death card. And one thing about the Emperor is that the Emperor can be the father. And the father represents authority. Sometimes the father is really the mother. depending on who wore the pants in the family. And the thing is that the person who tried to put out your fire, who tried to like clip your wings, and maybe this didn't occur when you were growing up, maybe it was an ex. And what I'm trying to say is that it's easy to look at that person and say what a monster they are, what a terrible person they are. But it's harder to look at oneself and saying, what was my weakness that allowed me to be with such a person? Was it really a case of I didn't know what I was getting myself into, or did I just not love myself enough? Was it as simple as that? That I saw the signs. I saw that this person was disrespectful to me, disrespectful to other people, thought they were better than other people, put people down. But I just wanted a relationship because I was very insecure, and things like that, and being honest with yourself. The Magician is about being self-reliant. Relationships are sometimes, I'm not saying all the times, but sometimes they can be codependent, where you are dependent sometimes on the other person to tell you how great you are in order to boost your self-esteem, or if you have somebody who is really messed up, it makes you feel useful. It makes you feel like you're helping somebody become, you're saving somebody. You know, being that savior complex. Again, usually associated with Pisces, so you'd have to look at other influences. Aries people in and of themselves are not like that. An Aries person might try to help somebody. Aries can be very generous, but Aries is too, I was going to say too insensitive to look at relationships in that way. And I don't mean that in a bad way when I say insensitive. What I mean is that Pisces is much more empathic as a sign and taking on the pain of somebody else, kind of like Christ-like. Aries, it's more of a wanting, positivity. You're a very positive sign and you want other people to be happy too. And so you may give of your resources, give of yourself, try to, cheer people up, but sometimes it's not going to work because that person isn't ready, and you have to focus on yourself. So the Magician is about, creating the life that you want for yourself, but leaving that other person out of the mix, leaving that knight in shining armor. Don't build your life around that person. Think about yourself. Maybe you're undergoing some kind of transition. Chiron is in your sign, so you may be more sensitive than usual too. There's always that possibility. The outcome is the Death card, death to the old. And I'm recording this in April, and we had a new moon in your sign, and we also had have had like a full moon. Well, wait a minute. When am I recording this? Yeah, we just had a full moon. And that was the second of two in your 7th house of committed partnership. But this one was at 29 degrees. So this was really kind of like closing a chapter on like a long-term relationship. So given that fact, and we're talking about May here, it may be if you have recently left another person. The Emperor can be maybe like a judge rendering a verdict in a case. If you are somebody who is really coming just out of that situation, that may explain why the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords is here, is because you haven't recovered yet. So don't try to do things too soon. Your first step in the case of people who are in that position is just to focus on developing a life for yourself. And everything will fall into place when it's ready. But there's so many cards here that speak about transition, like the Death card, or anxiety, and having that hard time moving forward, like the Eight and Nine of Swords. That this is not the type of reading that I say, oh yes, the Knight of Cups is coming into your life and you're going to have like this amazing romance. I think there's a lot of emotional debris that you have to clear out of your space. And for some of you, if it doesn't resonate that you've recently gotten divorced, then this is something, maybe daddy issues, I don't know. But something from your past that you haven't really healed from. The Magician card is taking responsibility for your own life and not blaming others, even if somebody did do something really bad. The bigger picture might be something quite different than feeling victimized. It might be feeling like that you had control over that situation in terms of choosing it, which is a really advanced concept, and it's not something that, I want to talk too much about, because I do feel that bad things are done to people every day, and it's really tragic, the kind of cruelty that one human being inflicts upon another, even on the psychological level, not just the physical. So you won't be hearing me shrugging my shoulders about that, but I do think it can leave people stuck. So that's what I feel here, is a sense of stuckness. And but the Magician card causes you, once you start to take that inspired action in the direction of your dreams, Aries, and this could be in all areas of life, the Death card takes care of itself. You resolve the past, you make peace with the past, and you can fully put it behind you. And that can, to me, that means forgiving people who have trespassed against you. And of course, that is definitely individual timing, not something that you can snap your fingers and do. You can't prematurely forgive somebody. You do it when you do it. But having that spirit of openness. Scorpio as a sign, I know you're an Aries, but some of you have the moon in Scorpio, for instance. And that may be the biggest hurdle to like kind of overcome. It's funny. I was talking to my partner the other day. I was talking about how, he has friends that are Aries, and I was thinking about people we know that are Scorpios, and I was saying that there was like the similarity, and then I think about it, and I think, yeah, well, Scorpio is also ruled by Mars. It's ruled by Pluto, but it's also ruled by Mars. Mars is the god of war, and so a warrior has a sense of righteousness about their mission, and that's why they do what they do. So there's always that sense of like, maybe like the emperor, right is right, and wrong is wrong. And so forgiveness can seem like it goes very much against that, but because I was saying to him like how sometimes Aries people seem like they want revenge, even though they tend to be very quick to forgive, quick to anger, quick to forgive, but still there can be something, especially if another person refuses to acknowledge that they've done anything wrong, then that can be very hard to forgive that, right? So you have to kind of see things from the biggest perspective of what is this teaching you in this moment? The anxiety of the Nine of Swords and the sense of being trapped are occurring because you're viewing things in a limited way. That's the problem. The more that you open up your way of thinking, the less things trap you and keep you down, keep you from spreading your wings and becoming who you're meant to be, which is, to me, what the Magician card is all about. Yes, it's about feeling very self-empowered and realizing that you have all the tools right now. And you might not believe that at the moment. You might think that that you don't have what you need to be able to do what you want to do, but you do. It's just that you have to be very humble about it. And you might have a humble beginning, but that's okay because it's a beginning. And the Death card, I was tempted to pick another card, and I said, no, this is about transition. And Aries people have been really dealing with a lot of changes. So this is not something that they haven't dealt with before. Okay, that's what I have for you. You're probably thinking, how did this go from being a reading for singles people to this? I don't know. Welcome to my world, Aries. Take care. Bye.